Good afternoon, everybody. I'm happy that everybody was able to join us on this Tuesday at 2 p.m. Vanessa and I are both here. We are going to, before we begin, it's now it's just 2 o'clock right now. I think we're going to give it about a minute or two because I think we're expecting a few more to sign on. So we'll wait 2 more minutes and then we'll actually begin the presentation. So thanks for joining us and just stand by. Thank you. I see there's more people coming in, Vanessa.
Yes, we have good attendance.
Yeah, we're doing good. Who wouldn't want to come to listen to you, Vanessa, speak? I would sign up to listen to you, Vanessa. Okay, here we go. They're coming now. I think we'll just give it another minute. We're getting more and more people sign on. So just 1 more minute, everybody. Thank you for your patience and thank you for signing up today to hear our presentation. All right, just another, and we'll start in like 30 seconds. Sound good, Vanessa?
Sounds good. We're ready.
Okay. All right. Should be well, yet more coming in. We should be good. Welcome for those who are just signing on. We're going to start in about 15 seconds. Thank you, everybody, again for joining us. There we go. The number's getting bigger. Okay. All right. I think we're gonna let's get the party started. So again, thank you, everybody, and for those of you who are signing on just now, I see our attendees are filling up, which is exciting. I'm Harvey Daniels. I'm VP of Development for One Sotheby's. A lot of you know me, some of you don't, but I have been in the business for a very long period of time. In fact, I debated saying how many years I've been in because it's going to make me sound old, but it is definitely 20 plus years I've been in. And my sister to me, Vanessa Stabile, who's our VP of Marketing and Operations with Sotheby's. We're going to be, I'm going to let Vanessa tell you a little about herself, but we are going to be co-hosting this how to sell new developments presentation. Vanessa, why don't you tell everybody a little bit how long you've been in the business?
Thank you, Harvey. So I've actually had the pleasure of working with Harvey for almost what is it, Harvey? 12, 13 years. Oh, yeah. I've been in the business 15 years. I started with public relations for new developments and now heading up the marketing for One Sotheby's International Realty's new developments. I've been with One Sotheby's for 11 years and it's been great. So we're really excited to be sharing this presentation with you and hope you enjoy.
Yeah, Vanessa and I both been with the company and working jointly together. So she's like the marketing guru. So it's been really great to work together. So here we go. Let's kind of just get the presentation started. So what we're going to do, just to give everybody an idea, we're going to go through several slides and talk about a lot of interesting things in development. And then we're actually going to do a Q&A at the end. So please, if you have any questions along the way, just please save your questions till the end, write them down because we will definitely make sure we have time to answer everybody's questions. So the first slide that we're going to talk about and first really important point I think about development is really about the history and the historical trends of new development, what it was like many years ago. And I certainly know that because again, I've been in the business quite a long time and I've seen it ebb and flow and changes. It's like an ever evolving industry with how you do things. But if you look at the major historical trends of new development, what you have is really basically, especially in Miami, let's use Miami as an example, you really would see 20, 30 new developments launching every year. I mean, there was a time when it was just, crazy what was going on. Everything was just happening more and more, and there were new towers going up, and one was supposed to be better and more luxurious than the other, and it was like a field day in development. I mean, I remember way back when it was just a really, really crazy time. There were all these new things happening, and of course, at that time, that's when, all the South Americans were coming in and investing in pre-construction developments, and things were, delivered decorator ready. They weren't, it wasn't like you bought things they are now, which we'll get into later. And of course, there was a whole deposit thing where people could buy with just 20% down. So if you think about it, way back when, it was just the heyday of development, which was really crazy. You had all of these things. And again, just quickly, you had multiple developments happening, huge South American buyer component coming into South Florida. You had things being delivered decorator ready. A lot of developers weren't, putting in the level of finish that they are now. And of course, they were buying with very little money down. So that's just something to remember of what it was. And of course, speeding up to today's world. I mean, it's amazing what's happened, because we're in 2020. It's such a different world. Things have evolved. There's fewer developments happening. You're not seeing as many buildings launch. I mean, you are seeing things happen, but it is a significantly slower process of new projects coming onto the market. You're also seeing existing new development inventory. A lot of buildings that were being launched 5-6 years ago are now coming to completion. They have still developer inventory left. That's existing product that they're selling. Also, the buyer demographic has drastically changed. You are seeing some South American buyers, but it's really dissipated. And from what I can see, the domestic markets are really the driving force of today's sales. East Coast USA, I'm sure everybody knows, as professionals, everybody knows that, you're hearing about the tax situations in New York and people coming down to avoid the tax brackets, etc. I personally have had a lot of clients, because of that. I'm sure you all have, and have been dealing with, different buyers for investments and looking to actually move here and become Florida residents because of the taxes. That's a big situation as to why we're getting more. Also, what has changed is the residences are delivered differently. As I said, when we're looking at the historical area of development, you had, developers building, as I said, they were building things really just unfinished, decorator ready. Now you're seeing things completely finished. I mean, you're seeing things completely finished to a level that I haven't seen, and I've sold a lot of development, and that's really all I've done in my long-time career, was sold high-end development real estate for developers in South Florida. What I'm seeing developers put significant money into finishes, such as better doors and better bathrooms and kitchens and flooring options. And I mean, it just goes on and on and on what they're doing and how they're delivering it. So they're coming more and more finished, which I think is, just what's happening now. That's what buyers want. Also, the deposit structure for pre-construction buildings in that phase has gone up in the last, few years. You've seen up to 50% deposits. I've seen some buildings ask for 60% deposits. Now that number, to be honest, is kind of coming back down. It's probably around 30%, what you're seeing now, 30, 40. Obviously, units that are finished, you don't have that. You can buy with, probably 10 to 20% down in some projects that are, obviously finished. There's just immediate closings. But typically, the deposit number has fluctuated. You've seen them go from smaller to larger, and now again, I'm really seeing like 30 to 50%, 30, 40%, I would say. Also, the broker incentives have significantly changed. It used to be, I remember, back years ago, we were selling developments and you'd offer 3% and 4%. And, now in the world, I see 6%. Some developers pay 8%. I've seen some craziness at 10%, which is really a little ridiculous. I mean, that's really getting carried away, in my opinion. But again, you're seeing greater incentives. They're just larger commissions being paid. Developers are offering even more for real estate agents. And this is great I think, for everybody listening in the audience to us, because this is really great for all of you guys, because the fact that developers now not only are paying larger commissions, but they're also offering PR and social media support. They're promoting you, they're doing things. So it's really, it goes more than that. I mean, I remember I can tell you recently, we're in the middle of doing some business in one of the projects. And, part of the deal is the developer is going to give them a PR push in their marketing, in their entire database, that they're one of the experts of an outside broker for the project, which can be really good for you guys as an outside broker wanting to bring buyers to come in. So just kind of gives you an idea of what's kind of trending now in new developments. Vanessa, we'll move on to the next screen. They're also expanding north, and that's something that I personally am very I've always been really passionate about locations and what's happening with development, and in doing this. I've been being in Miami for most of my life, and now I'm based in Lauderdale. And I still live in Miami often, but I've really I have such a interest in seeing the expansion and the growth of what's happening with the development markets. You had Miami, which was obviously, the leader of the pack, carrying the torch of the new developments, and all the news buzz was always Miami, and it still is, and Miami's great. But things are happening in a very, very big way in all of these northern markets. They're expanding north. You have things happening in Lauderdale that weren't happening before, Boca, Palm Beach, Delray Beach, Vero Beach. I mean, all of these areas. I can tell you, Sotheby's has offices in these areas, and even there are other brokerages that are expanding in these areas and doing things and taking on developments, and I think it's really great. But I love to see everything happening and moving north, and I think that's a really good. It's another good trend in what's happening. There's also, I think a lot of that also, to be honest, because you have such a domestic market, of people buying in today's, East Coast USA, etc. Buying in South Florida. It's, a lot of people love Miami, but a lot of people don't want to be in Miami. They like it to be a little quieter, a little more of a easier, not so urban, quieter, and you have areas in Vero and Delray and Boca, Palm Beach that are just offer a different type of energy. So I guess it's one of the beautiful things about South Florida is you have something for everybody, which is great. But that's definitely something that we see expanding north, and that's a really big proponent. So we'll move on, Vanessa, from that.
So Harvey, thank you for that intro. I definitely want to provide some insight as to how the stages of a new development. So taking 1000 Museum as an example, there's developments usually range from 3, 4, 5, 6 years. It all depends on the size of the development, the size of the residences, a lot of considerations into the stages. However, you can say that it's usually between 4 to 6 years is a good estimate. And here it gives you a slide. It's an educational slide where it tells you the various components of a new development. So you start at the beginning, before the development goes to market, before the real estate agents are even hearing of this development. There's a lot of things that take place. For example, the land acquisition, the product definition. This is where a sales and marketing a company like ourselves come into the development in the product definition stage. That's extremely important for us because that's where we work hand in hand with the developer to define the product. What type of residences are the buyers looking for? The size, the amenities, the floor plans. There's been developments where we've done 15 renditions of floor plans to get it perfect. So this is a very important stage for us as a sales and marketing company. The entitlements, the permits, the legal documents, and of course my favorite, which is the creation of the marketing collateral. This is where for a good 6 to 9 months prior to launching the development, we work on creating the marketing collateral, where we start with the renderings, the scale models, the definition of the sales gallery, the brochures, the floor plans, all of the marketing components that you're provided. We create that at least 6 to 9 months before it's launched. Then we go on to the reservation phase, where the developer releases the reservation period, and we can work with the agents to reserve the units. We go into the contract phase, where usually that's where the first set of deposits are done, and we go to the hard contracts, and we can pay the first set of commissions. Then the groundbreaking, probably one of the biggest milestones for a new development is obviously the groundbreaking. It's when it solidifies that the development is solid and moving forward, and construction commences. The concrete pour, the buyer's floor, so when they pour the buyer's floor, the top off, and then the closing process, the closing stage. And with the example of 1000 Museum, we started selling 1000 Museum back in 2013, and we just delivered the development last year at the last quarter of 2019. So it was 6 years in process from the start to finish, and it's a very, very gratifying process when you see a development from beginning to end.
I just want to add real quick, Vanessa, on 1000, that was an interesting, and I think that also I think that's a great example to use for stages of development. But it's also a little bit of a unique example. I mean, obviously, I'm sure a lot of you've seen it. It's a very complicated to build. It's got a lot of factors going into it to build it. So it took exceptionally, a little bit longer, which of course gave me some gray hair along the way since 2013. But I'm glad that we've seen it through, and it's been a great accomplishment for us. So I think it's a great example to see something start and actually get to finish. It was a good one, Vanessa. Keep going. Sorry.
Absolutely. So with the stages of a new development, then comes in the various stages of marketing a new development. So in your pre-construction stage, like I said, you have the rendering component, all the different marketing collateral brochures and floor plans and websites. You have your sales gallery component, which is very important. That's where we conduct all the on-site presentations, the broker tours. That's where the buyer really has the feel and the touch of what the product is going to look like. Many sales galleries offer just small offices, and other sales galleries offer as full as a size of a residence. So you can see the size of the bathrooms and the kitchens and the master bedroom. Those are usual components that are put into a sales gallery. Obviously, those are sales galleries for larger developments. Then you have your scale models. Your scale models are, till this day, even though a lot of things are going virtual and 3D, you still have your scale models where you showcase the orientation of the product, the building, the different components. This is very important for a sales agent to use as a tool. And then you have your 3D virtual videos, which nowadays, of course, with everything going on, are your most important tools. That's in your pre-construction stage. When you're under construction, in a marketing stage, you're mostly reporting progress and milestones. So like I said, your first floor, the buyer's floor, the pouring, when the construction starts to go vertical, when you top off, all of these milestones are very important in marketing so that you report to the clients what's happening in the development. And then of course, development partnerships. During this stage, the developer many times obtains partnerships with various components to increase the amenities or to increase the level of sophistication in the building. And I put here two examples, one being a beach club or one being a Delos partnership, which we've formed at our development of Villa Valencia and Coral Gables. Delos is a wellness component that we've brought into the building to enhance the amenity package. So these are various things that happen when the development is under construction. And then of course, we have the completed towers. Once the project is completed, that's where you bring in, where you have the model residences, where you partner with design powerhouses, such as we've seen Artefacto or Stephen G or B&B Italia, companies like that, where they provide model residences so clients can come in and see the furniture and how a unit is laid out once completed. There, we showcase interior videos and open houses for the clients and the agents to come and tour the property. So these are all the different components of the different stages of a new development.
So then we have is basically your sales process and how this works, because this is interesting. This is where you make money. So
This is the important part.
You guys know as sales process, you have to you go from start to finish. So I'm just going to take you through it a little bit and how it works with a pre-construction building or new development building. I get a lot of calls, and I know my teams that I work with in my projects obviously we get a lot of calls, and it's important. I'm going to start by saying it's important as agents for you guys to know that when you have an in-house agent, their clients, the people that matter most to them, and the people that they speak to on a daily basis are agents like yourselves. So like as an outside agent, you have buyers, they're your clients. Well, typically an in-house agent works with you guys, works with the sales. Their databases they have are all broker databases because they promote their developments to agents and brokers. So it's good for, as an agent, if you have a buyer, it's good to kind of, who calls you on one of the projects or is interested in one of the areas, it's good for you to actually do a preview of the building. Actually call the sales office, reach one of the agents reach one of the on-site agents and actually go in and see it, get a presentation on it so you're well versed on it. You can talk about it to your client. It's very important to do that so you sound educated on the building and pricing, etc. Then a lot of times the agent comes and previews with the client. You bring the client over, you make an appointment, you select the unit. Hopefully, I mean, this is all a process. I'm just kind of giving you the points, the overall points of the flow of how it goes. You select the unit, you negotiate on the unit, then you work up a contract. Typically, when we talk about working up a contract, typically the good part about when you're doing a development deal, the in-house agents, and they have teams, they have full team. The developer has full teams to handle everything, contract administration, they handle the deposits, they deal with everything. You as an outside agent don't have to do that. All your job is to bring a client and let the on-site agent do the work for you and with you. And that's one of the benefits of it. So, obviously you get to a point where you get a contract, and then what you have once a contract is signed and the deposit goes up, it goes into a rescission period. And the rescission period is basically this is like Florida law. You have a 15-day rescission period in which basically the client can cancel the contract by Florida law for any reason. I mean, the buyer can literally wake up in the morning and just have a bad day and said, look, I'm out. He doesn't really need a reason. They can just do it by Florida law. So typically that 15-day period is where you really want to just keep everything great and answer questions along the way. And usually buyers that are serious, they want to do this. They have a reason why they're buying and they're excited about it, and it's our job to keep them excited about it. Then, of course, the contract goes hard with the deposit after 15 days, typically. Then, of course, you have additional deposits that are due. Sometimes, and that really depends on when. It depends on your construction milestone. Typically, if you're dealing with a 30 or 40 or 50% deposit, whatever that number is, you have typically a 20% deposit at contract, and then 10%. Another 20% when they break ground, and then maybe another 10% when they pour the floor, and then maybe another 10% at top off. Those things can vary depending on the project and depending on the developer and depending on the financial setup that the developer has with their lenders, etc. And then, of course, the building gets built. You do the walkthrough of the residence. You go through the closing process, which is really basically a very simple process as an agent like you guys, because again, the developer has all of these people in place. They have contract administration, they have a closing coordinator, they have all of these things. Most 99% of them, 90% of them, I would say, are really have it together, and they're very organized with it. So you typically don't have to be too concerned about that point. And then, of course, commission disbursement. Commission disbursement can vary, and it depends on the stage of the development. For example, if you're, typically once the contract goes hard and you have a 20% deposit, typically what happens, depending on the stage, if it's an earlier stage of the project and there's a building that's going to get delivered, say in like 2 years, 3 years, whatever it is in the future, the developers typically pay partial commissions up front. So you sometimes you get a third, you can get up to 50, whatever. It really depends on the project and what commission structure they have in place. Obviously, buildings like 1,000 museum buildings like that are finished, for example, they pay it all at closing, because when you have a product that's done, you get the buyer to buy, they close, everybody gets paid, and that's pretty much how it works. We'll go to the
Harvey,
next.
I wanted to share this next slide can give them an example as to what a deposit structure would look like or a commission structure would look like. These are some standard structures that we're seeing in the marketplace now.
Right. And again, what you're seeing, whether you have 20% of contract, which I kind of said a little early, I think I got ahead of myself on that one, Vanessa, but that's okay. But what you see here is typically, and again, all of these things can vary. This is an example. Some do 50-50, some do, they spread it out depending. And a lot of times what I've also noticed, I'm going to add this when it comes to deposits, I have to say, because we're in a climate right now where, a lot of times buyers are kind of dictating what they can do and what they can't do. And a lot of times a buyer might say, look, I'd like to buy it, but you know what? I can't do 20% right now. I can do 10 now, and then I can see if the developer will do 10 now and 20 now and 10 here. I mean, a lot of times, the developers are really, and this is a good thing for all of us to know, developers are really, they try to work with everybody according to their needs. And I mean, I have projects right now where, like, the last 4 deals I did are, often different deposit structures because you have different needs of buyers. So they're really, I'm noticing developers are very accommodating, and I think that's the word I was looking for. But they try to work with everybody and get you, make deals work for the buyers and make deals work for everybody to get it done. And that's really what I've seen. And again, typically you can see, like, in terms of commissions, typically they pay that out according to deposits. And that also, there's also some different things you're seeing now, and there's a lot of incentives. We talked about incentives, and I think that'll come up later in the presentation, but a lot of them are paying, some people are paying 100% up front. I mean, they're doing all different kinds of things you're seeing. And again, that really depends on the development.
On this next slide, what we wanted to convey and the messaging we wanted to portray is, what's great about our market, we have all of these various neighborhoods, every single neighborhood offering something unique and something special. And all of our neighborhoods have different feeder markets and different price points. So that's what we kind of wanted to go through with this slide, so that you understand when you're speaking to your client, if they're looking for something midpoint, mid-pricing, all the different amenities, what they're looking for, you can coordinate, and you can understand each different neighborhood and what that neighborhood offers and what that product is offering and the different price points and the feeder markets you could be speaking to. So for example, with Coral Gables, we represent a few developments in Coral Gables. We all understand that a lot of the people buying in developments in Coral Gables now are empty nesters, those that have $5, $10, $15 million homes in Coral Gables and Cocoa Plum in Gables Estates that are now looking to, I don't want to say downsize, we kind of like to say upsize, and they're looking to have a more urban type environment. That's what they're seeking when they're purchasing now. In Brickell and downtown, we still see a lot of the South American buyers who are interested in the shopping of Brickell City Center. And that's what they're interested in. In Miami Beach, of course, the beaches. So you have the European market, you have the Russian market, you have the New York market. Those markets that don't have the luxury of the beaches. That's what you find in Miami Beach. In Bay Harbor, Bal Harbor, and Surfside, again, you also have the beautiful beaches. Aventura, shopping destination right next to Aventura Mall. One of the most highly visited destinations in the country is Aventura Mall. So all of these different neighborhoods offer some different appeal and some different amenity and some different opportunity for the clients. And you have various price points from $250,000 to $500,000, depending on your client's price point. You can dictate to them which neighborhood would be best suited for them. And the feeder markets, for example, Fort Lauderdale, like Harvey was saying, the emerging markets up north, Fort Lauderdale, Boca Raton, Palm Beach, Treasure Coast. In the last few years, because of the tax incentives, we're seeing an increase in buyers from cities like Chicago, Manhattan, New York, in Connecticut, in Greenwich, Connecticut, in the Hamptons. All of those buyers are going to these different markets because of the tax incentives. And like Harvey mentioned, because they're a little bit more quiet, they offer something unique. And we've all known that historically, these have been second home buyers to these different markets. So it's just, you have to, when you're speaking to your client, understand really what it is that they're looking for, so that you know what neighborhood or what type of development to take them towards, and of course their price point. Next, Harvey, you're up.
Sure, I'm up. Okay, thank you, V. Just to kind of, we're going to go through a little bit of building your business, and I'm glad that we chose to discuss this part, because this is stuff that's really important, I think. But I mean, it's all important, but this really hits home for me, because as agents, for what you want to do to actually build your business, and there's ways to really do it by selling the new developments. And there's advantages to focus on new developments. And I know I see the list of names. There's a lot of people I know who I've even talked to about this. And what's great about it is that utilizing the developments can really help you. And let me give you some examples. It's less time allocation, because what you're doing, you have a team who can work for you of the development. So typically you call them and you say, hey, my guy's interested in, he's 1 to 4 million and he wants this. And really what's great about it is the on-site salesperson will put all of it together for you in an email. They'll send you everything. They have in-house sales team support. They have marketing tools already created that you can just send out. A lot of them will just even brand them towards you. They can do it. A lot of developments have this type of needs. I mean, I can tell you with us, with One Sotheby's projects, and I'm sure some of the other companies do too, but they offer offer really great marketing tools that they can custom create for you as agents, because the more you market their building, the better the faster chance they have of selling it, and they know that. There's also a really great client registration protection, which is really advantageous for you as an agent, because when you call, you register your client with the agent. They go into the database system of the buyer that they're registered. That buyer is registered under you, so that buyer contacts or comes in, they know it goes to you. And that, at times can be, I guess it could be questioned if a broker comes with if you're registered, then sometimes they can come in with a different broker, and how buyers, all different scenarios can happen with crazy buyers, and I think we all know that. But it's our job as an agent, to obviously stick close to our buyers and keep them engaged and let them know that you're, focused on them and working for them and representing them the best. So what's nice about that is about doing this is the fact that the on-site agent can really help you. They just think about them working on your team, because they really are on your team. And of course, I think the biggest advantage is the commissions. A lot of agents I've talked to who I've dealt with in properties recently have come in, and for example, I have an agent I'm working with right now, at 1,000, and they're looking at a big unit in our building, and I think they're hopefully going to be offering with us. But let me tell you, if you don't think it makes a difference to that agent that he's going to make 6% commission with us at closing versus 3% on an outside deal that he's looking at, I mean, believe me, there's a lot of excitement on them to focus on the developments. So that's something that is really important. I mean, listen, who doesn't want to make more money on a sale? So you have a huge benefit with a larger commission structure for the developments. And again, that's why you're seeing a lot of that happen in the developments right now. Go on, Vanessa. So let's just talk about, when we're going to go through like the 5 easy steps, of actually getting a sale and making it happen. What do you do? We kind of went through it, but I'm going to be a little bit more specific now. So basically, of course, it's number 1 is capture. You're talking about capturing your client's interest. Look, there's any development that you like. A lot of people, I'm going to use 1,000 as an example because it seems to be, we're very busy lately in the building. And I can tell you a lot of agents are coming to me and like, wow, I just heard about the David Beckham. I just heard about the David Beckham sale. I just heard about, all the big sales that you're making and the activity that's happening, et cetera. So that's really, been a really exciting thing for them. And they're like, how do I get my client more information on this building? What do I do? How do I do it? So we have tools that you can do. There's email blasts created. There's all types of marketing tools. So again, capture your client's interest. That's great. You want to become knowledgeable in the process. You want to know the area. A lot of people come to 1,000 and they get excited about the building, but they want to know what's going on with the area. Well, they want to know that behind it is the Miami World Center. Vanessa made a comment, was talking about Aventura, how great Aventura is, and it is great because it's got that shopping destination. Well, Miami World Center, right behind 1,000, is actually the largest mixed-use development in the United States being built outside of Hudson Yards, and that's literally right behind it. So you got to know the area. That really helps. So get your client's interest, know the area, register your client, which we spoke about. The importance of doing that is really key. Register your client. You want to negotiate the offer. You want to make sure you get to a contract. And then, of course, you close the deal and you receive your commission. So there's a flow to it. And we kind of broke it down into those five easy steps. And again, just one quick thing. You can keep it on that slide, Vanessa. But in reference to commissions vary depending on the building. Some pay 3, 4, 5, 6. 1,000 Museum is paying 5% right now. I know other projects that are paying 6. Adagio in Fort Lauderdale is paying 6. So it really depends. I mean, we could go through all the developments and tell you who is paying what, but it's really good to know how much you're going to make before when you're bringing your client there, so you can know what to expect. Go ahead, Vanessa, to the next slide. So again, capturing your client's interest and develop your strategy. You want to organize organize and utilize your database. A lot of you have databases. Organize it, utilize them, utilize the tools that they provide you. Tour the developments. It's also good to know when we talk about area, you still want to go back to the area. What is, like, for example, at 1000, what's going on downtown? What's in front of us? What can you buy? What else is going on in the area? What other developments are in the area? What should I know? Become knowledgeable, become an expert in the area. Understand it. That's really key. Knowledge is key. When people talk to you, you want to know what you're talking about. I mean, I can tell you when people ask me certain sections of maybe Brickell or this, I don't know as well. But if you ask me about the area of 1000 Museum, I can talk about it better than anybody. I'm an expert in the area and I know that. So become your expert. Know what you're doing. If your client's interested in the building, get to know it. That's the best advice I can give you because it works. You also want to kind of market yourself, post content on the new developments, use your social media. Social media is huge. I don't know if a lot of you have followed me on Instagram, but I try to be as active as possible. And lately I've been more active than ever just because of the times that we're in. So I feel like right now social media is really important. I posted some things. I did a walkthrough the other day, last week. I did it at 1000 Museum. I did a walkthrough on one of our new units there listed, and I got actually a buyer wrote me on Instagram from London and was like, hey, I own a building. We own a 3-bedroom in the Zaha building in New York. We're very interested. And, next week I'm scheduling to do a FaceTime tour with them in the unit because they can't get out of London right now. But, all of these things really help. And I'm seeing it firsthand. So I can tell you I truly believe from the heart that working with on your social media and doing things, I can tell you it makes a difference and it works. Obviously attending networking events, of course, during the right time, those are really important too. Most of the projects, all of our projects have events. We do launch openings. We host different types of events with all different kinds of really creative things. I mean, you can always reach out to Vanessa or myself, and we can provide you, with a calendar of things that we're doing. Obviously, things are on the web right now, of course, with the climate we're in. But that's going to change, and hopefully, we will go back to doing larger scale networking events that you can invite your clients to and bring them to. And we've sold a lot of units in the past during some of these events that have been really, really terrific for the clients. So good things to have. Again, become knowledgeable in the process, know your area. You want to learn about the development. You want to know the market comps. It's really important. And I think what's also really important, let's talk about comps for a second, because comps are something that I know come up in every building with every developer salesperson I talk to. And by the way, just even though, yes, we're with Sotheby's, but I have super close relationships with we're all in this together, all the companies and all the agents, the industry. So, I keep very close ties with all agents and different sales directors in different buildings, and we all get together and talk all the time and share knowledge about things, which is important. But I can tell you, everybody talks about comps, and it's important to know the comps in your building. A lot of people think, we'll use 1000 as an example. A lot of people say, oh, why am I going to spend $1,200 a foot there when the neighboring building sells for $600 a foot? And it's important to know things like this, because the truth is there's always a split between neighboring buildings. I mean, if you look at Miami Beach, Apogee might be $2,500 a foot and the neighboring building could be $1,500 a foot. But it's normal to have $1,000 a square foot spread between buildings. So when you're talking about comps, it's important that you know that what matters are the comps in the one building. That's really what matters the most. And that's really what is going to help you make sales when you focus on just the building. You also want to kind of review purchase agreements. It's good to get to know them a little bit, understanding them, understand some of the language, the regulation, the steps, work with a great attorney, who's knowledgeable. If any of you, by the way, I'm sure all of you have great real estate attorneys you work with. I have a list of them that are fantastic, that have done deals in multiple buildings of ours and others who are great. And if you ever need a referral on a couple attorneys, I'm happy to share my knowledge with you on who I think is great and who I think are deal makers, who help push the deals through. I mean, these are all really important things. Okay, keep going, Vanessa, please. So again, register your client. We kind of spoke about that. You always want to deal with the in-house team. You want to always follow up. You want to keep your client informed. You want to keep them engaged. It's always part of your job to keep the communication going with your client. Next. Negotiate the offer, execute the contract. So you also want to, as I said before, a lot of this is repeating myself, but these are really important points because you want to use the in-house sales team. They'll take care of the contract. They'll take care of the paperwork. They're just going to help guide you and give you what you need. You want to continue to keep the client informed and keep them engaged. Always be in touch with them. Always stay in communication with them. Sometimes I've had people register a client and then then maybe they disappear, don't talk to the client for 2-3 months, and then the client 2-3 months, the client later walks in with another broker. It's your job to make sure that you're always keeping your client engaged and in touch with them and talking to them, which is a really important thing to do. And then of course it's important to always even report on the milestones and the progress of the project. Hey, they just topped off, they just broke ground, or the furnished models were finished, and wow, it's beautiful. I mean, it's kind of good to know all these things. So it's good to stay in touch, and keep in touch with the on-site. Make sure you guys are also on every database of all the buildings that you like. You should reach out to the on-site sales team. Make sure that you're receiving emails about the building and updates and progress and milestones of the project. It's really important to know. Keep going, Vanessa. And then, of course, closing the deal. Receiving your commission. Those are the big ones. So obviously it's really important to keep the client informed and engaged, but you want to report on the project, the milestones, which we talked about. You want to assist in collecting client deposits, although you can make sure that you're also, while you're doing this and working with the client, make sure you're also helping coordinate with the developers team as well, the on-site sales team, the contract administrator, because a lot of times contract administrators of projects, they have all the email addresses of your clients. They deal direct, and that does happen. So it's good to make sure you're in the mix. Make sure you're in the know about communication, what's going on. All of these things are really key. And then of course the closing process, which usually is a very smooth process. And of course, a really important point for all of you guys, and this isn't something that we've talked about, is a listing opportunity. A lot of you, when you make a sale, the truth is a lot of people, sometimes they want to resell or they want to rent or they want to this. They're your clients. You should stay in touch with them because at the bottom line, it is a future, money opportunity for you to earn because you could get the listing in the future. So that's always important to stay in touch with your clients. And I think that most of you probably do a great job of that. So you can keep going, Vanessa. This is you. Vanessa? Did we lose Vanessa?
No, I'm here. I was muted. I was talking to myself.
Oh. Don't be on mute, Vanessa. Go ahead.
No. Thank you, Harvey, for those 5 steps. And now, this is the part that I love to go through is how to market yourself, how to make this a successful business for yourself, and what marketing tools to use. So in every development that we work with and all the different developments in the city, there's always unbranded available content. And what that means, unbranded, is that it doesn't have the development's website, phone number, or sales team information. It's unbranded so that you can send it to your clients and it has your contact information. So as sales and marketing firms, we provide all of these unbranded content so that you can share with your clients and you can distribute it via email. So they have unbranded email campaigns. Mostly every development now has a Dropbox link or a broker tool website where you can download unbranded emails. So if you're at a time in your listings where you don't have many listings or much information to share with your clients, send an unbranded email. You never know how a client is going to react. I always share a story of one of our agents. I was in the office with her and I was sitting with her and I approached her one day and I said, I know you have a lot of clients in Argentina, and this development really appeals to the Argentinian market because it's an Argentinian developer. He's very well known. So why don't you send this unbranded email to your clients? She sent it, and within 2 weeks, she already had a client interested with an offer. So you never know how a client is going to react. Send those unbranded email campaigns. That's what we do. That's what we provide them for. We go through a lot of work to provide them, so use them. Digital brochures, fact sheets, and floor plans. All of this content and all of this information is unbranded. Videos, share the videos via email, share them through social media. Social media posts, like Harvey said, social media right now is the best way to engage your clients. Make sure that you're active on your social media and you're sharing the content that's being provided to you. Also, developments now offer PowerPoint presentations. So we even go the extra step to provide a PowerPoint presentation to show you the ways and how to sell the development, all the different points you want to touch with the client, what information you want to give to them. Everything is there in that PowerPoint presentation. Even a step further, we're creating individual websites with your own personal URL. So if you want to be an expert on that development and that's the development you want to sell, you can ask that development, can you create my own individual website with my URL? Or even upload the information to your personal website. And then of course we have direct mailers. We've, as sales and marketing firms, we send direct mailers, but we even offer the opportunity of branding a direct mailer for you and for your client. So nowadays, there's so many tools that are available to you for all of these various developments. Of course, like Harvey said, in the situation that we're in right now, everything is virtual. So we're doing virtual presentations, virtual tours through Matterport. You're seeing that a lot right now through in your emails, all of these virtual presentations and trainings on how to sell these developments, webinar trainings, mobile apps. We have an app that we'll go through later in the presentation where we have information on all of our pre-construction developments. And then of course, there's also in the future, hopefully, event and travel opportunities where if you're traveling to a city or a country and you want to promote that project, we can provide you with marketing material, we can provide you with support for that trip so that you can present the development. So the opportunities in marketing are endless for you to promote your business and for you to become an expert in new developments. Now, just to finish off the presentation, we definitely, of course, want to give you a little information of the developments that we represent, and we'll go through them very briefly, each development, but this way so that you become knowledgeable on what we have as a sales and marketing company, what developments we represent, and what markets we focus on so that you can become involved and engaged within our developments. Like Harvey's mentioned a few times, 1000 Museum, that's one of our signature developments that we've been focusing on for the last 6 years. There's still available inventory and you have opportunities to see the virtual presentations that we're offering. And then once life goes back to normal, you can come and visit the building. It's absolutely exceptional. You've never seen anything like it, and I can assure you that. So take the opportunity, visit the developments. Villa Valencia in Coral Gables. We recently launched this development. Coral Gables hadn't seen a lot of new developments in many years, and this is one of the few new developments in Coral Gables. We're going to be opening our sales gallery hopefully in May or June. So we're very excited about that milestone, and you'll be able to see all the beautiful finishes and touches that we're going to be delivering at Villa Valencia. They're custom residences starting at 1.7 million and in the heart of Coral Gables with amazing walkability. So once we open the sales gallery, we'll make sure to invite all of you to come and visit us. The Reserve at Marina Palms in Aventura. This was, just by this picture, you can see the gorgeous views and boating. That's what this development offers, the boating lifestyle. And we have only 11 residences remaining. So we're excited that we're going to be finishing this one very soon. And they're mostly penthouses. So we're excited about the delivery and completion of the Reserve at Marina Palms. Giralda Place in Coral Gables. This one is 33 residences starting at 700,000. It's already completed, so you can visit the development. We have 10 luxury townhomes, beautiful 2-story townhomes on the 7th floor amenity deck, and we have 23 residences. And this, like I said, is already completed. Moving on, we have 4 other developments in Coral Gables by MG Developer. MG Developer is known for delivering beautiful luxury townhomes. And they've done a phenomenal job in a community called Biltmore Square. So in Coral Gables, in the community of Biltmore Square, we're delivering Althea Row and Biltmore Row townhomes. We've already delivered Beatrice Row, who just won an incredible award for its design. So we're proud to represent the entire portfolio of MG Developer. And those townhomes are starting at 2.6 and 3 million. We also have the residences at the Miami Beach Edition residences. We only have one left, which is the penthouse. So that is our last available residences. We've been able to work on this project for over a year and a half, 2 years now, and we've sold it out, and we're very excited about this milestone. So we have one residence left, which is the penthouse for $8 million. And Aventura Park Square in Aventura, another development in Aventura, which was a mixed-use development with 131 residences, and we have about 20 residences left for sale in the condominium. This Aventura Park Square, I don't know if you've had the opportunity to see it, but it's absolutely exceptional. Has incredible retail in the ground floor, Casa D'Angelo restaurant, Barry's Boot Camp, Delicious Raw. It has an incredible lifestyle that it offers in Aventura. And moving north to Broward and Palm Beach, Harvey, this is one of your babies, Adagio, Fort Lauderdale Beach. We just completed Adagio as well. So we're now going to be showcasing in the coming days a beautiful new video of its interiors and the model residences. We have a few residences remaining, not too many, and we're starting at $2 million. And this is completed, so you'll be able to tour the building very soon. In Boca Raton, we just launched in January Royal Palm Residences. We're excited because in 3 months, we were able to sell over 40% of the inventory, and we're going to be making that announcement very soon. As like we've said before, this appealed to the New York market, so we have a lot of our buyers coming from cities such as New York, Chicago, Boston. These are second homes. Some are even for local residents in Boca looking to upgrade. This property is located right before the beaches on Royal Palm Road with great walkability to restaurants. It's beautiful boutique. It's 3 small little mid-rise towers, each with 2 residences per floor, 16 per tower, so a total of 48 residences. And we're starting at 1.75 million there in Boca. And then 327 Royal Palm, which was completed already. It's the same developer from Royal Palm Residences. It's just a few blocks down from Royal Palm Residences. We only have 2 residences left here, and it's already completed, so you can tour those as well. And in Delray Beach, we have 111 Delray Beach. We announced completion, I believe it was in February or March, we announced completion. And we have a few, I think 15 residences remaining, those starting at 430,000. And we have, you can tour those residences as well because it's already completed. So a lot of our portfolio is completed, and you have the ability to tour them, visit the sales teams, become knowledgeable on what's out there on the product, and they have very good, like Harvey said, incentives and pricing available. And last is our development in the Treasure Coast, Blue at 8050 Ocean in Vero Beach. We just launched this one about 2 months ago. It's a beautiful property on the ocean. I mean, you just from the picture, you can see how exceptional it is. It's boutique, residents starting at 1.7 million. Imagine right on the ocean for 1.7 million. And we already started construction. We're going to be sharing some construction progress videos, and we're estimating completion early 2023. And we're proud because we're going to be launching 2 more developments coming soon in the Vero Beach area. And lastly, our collaboration with One Commercial and our office condo portfolio. In the last 3 to 4 years, we've represented already 3 office condo developments: Aventura Park Square, Forum Aventura, and Forum Park we're going to be launching soon. And we've become extremely knowledgeable in this office condo portfolio market. And recently, we just launched Creative HQ. We launched in February of this year. Creative HQ is the office condo component at Nativo, I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Nativo in downtown Miami. We're representing the office condo component, where we're selling these office condos starting at 290,000. And the reason why we've been so successful with our office condo component is a lot of the markets that, for example, the South American markets that were selling residential have now diversed into office condo because it's a different offering for their client. And we've been very successful in it. We're going to be launching very soon an educational series on how to sell office condos. So stay tuned for that. Our VP, Ivan Ramirez, is going to be leading that educational series on how to sell office condos. So if you're interested, make sure to sign up for those webinars because it's a very good offering that you can offer your clients, and they're lower price points. So, and they have similar commission structures. So it's a very good opportunity for you to learn that. Lastly, our app, our development division app. We are one of the, I think the only company in South Florida that has an app that has all of the information for our pre-construction developments. So please, before you get off this training, download OneSir Developments. It's available on your iPhone and your Android, and it has all of the information for every single project that I just described. It has all the fact sheets, all the brochures, floor plans, all the digital material, the locations of the sales galleries, locations of the sites, and more importantly, who is involved in each development. So if you want to get in touch with a sales representative for that development, that information is available, and you can just click on their name and it takes you to a call. So it's very user-friendly. It's an excellent source if you're on the go and you want to get in touch with an agent or you need information. There's many times where I'm in my car or with a group of people and I have people asking questions and I forget one statistic on one development. I go to my app and it's all there. It's accessible, it's easy to use, and all the information for any development is there. You could be anywhere in the world and do a presentation on development. If there is an Apple TV, you can mirror on your Apple TV the brochure or the video or the virtual presentation, and it's all there. So there's no excuses. All the information is very easily available to you. And lastly, because of everything that's happening nowadays, we're offering virtual presentations for all of our developments. So through our YouTube channel, through our social media channels, we're going to be showcasing all of our virtual presentations. We send out weekly e-blasts. So please register so that you can have information on all of these wonderful developments and how to sell them to your clients. And I think that's it, Harvey.
Good job, V.
Thank you, Harvey.
Open up real quick. I know it's been a long presentation today, but we had a lot of material to get through. Before we wrap up, I just want to open it for questions. If there are any, we're here to please let us know. If anybody has any questions, you can just dial in or just, I guess, punch in a question to Vanessa.
There's a question by Jean-Louise, and he said, how much of a buyer deposit developer can use to build? How much of a deposit can a developer use?
Legally, it's a good, excellent question, and one I just answered yesterday with an actual buyer buying a unit. The developer is legally allowed to there has to remain 10% in escrow. So 10% is by law what needs to stay in escrow. Anything in excess of 10% can be used for construction. It's a good question.
Thank you. Thank you,
Sure.
Harvey. Looking through more of the questions. Just so everyone knows, we're going to be uploading this presentation to YouTube, and we're going to be sharing it. We're going to share the link with you after this presentation. Give us about a day or so to upload it, and you'll receive an email with this virtual presentation and the link to YouTube. So if you want to refresh any of the content that was provided or any information that you may have missed if you joined late, all of it will be on that link provided to you, and you can have access to it at any time. So for those of you that I know were interested in seeing this presentation or the slides once again, it'll be sent to you within the day of us finishing this presentation. And there's a question from Ivan Ramirez. Can I, as a general agent, market in New York as opposed to developers market the developments?
I believe so. A lot of the developments are registered in New York. Some are, some aren't. But I know as an agent, I mean, you can market anywhere, because typically what happens is, like, as just an example, if you're not registered in New York, typically a developer can pay any Florida broker commission. So if a broker makes a referral deal with an agent outside in New York or anywhere for that matter, then yes, I mean, what would happen is the commission would be paid to your firm, and then your firm would pay that referral fee out, because you're allowed to do it on referral in many cases. So yes, you definitely can market you can market to any audience you like, as long as it's your job to make a referral agreement with them, whoever you're marketing to. So that's definitely something you can do.
Isaura asked a question, can you send us the inventory available of all of the developments? Yes, we can definitely provide that to you, Isaura. Absolutely.
Yep, Vanessa, you'll make sure we take care of all
Yes,
these things. Yes,
absolutely.
absolutely.
That's the most important information we want to provide to you. We want you to have the availability, the price ranges, and all of that so that you're familiar with the information and you can send it to your clients. We have a question from Agustina. How difficult is it to find buyers in general? That's a question for you, Harvey.
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends. It depends on on what's going on in the world. I mean, let's talk about right now. I mean, as right now, because of the climate we're in, I mean, listen, it's a more of a challenge now. But they are out there. The buyers are out there. There are deals getting done. It's just there are fewer, but there are definitely buyers out there. And I think what's interesting about it is the buyer it changes depending. For example, in the beginning of projects, you get a lot of buyers who want to just get into the project to get a better price in the beginning because it's pre-construction. And then versus the end of a project, when it's actually built and finished, you get less of a person who's necessarily an investor, but they're really looking more of an end user. It's more of an emotional buy for them, where they want to live or be there, or et cetera. There's many different factors. I mean, it's a good question, but I think the best way to answer it is to really it really depends on the time. It depends what's going on in the world. It depends on many factors. It can depend on, do we have a pandemic going on? Is there a currency issue? Where are you from? What's happening? I mean, there's many different ways, but because we're in a time right now where, yes, it is a little more challenging. All the more reason to kind of, that's why we did this presentation, this webinar today, is because it is a little more challenging, and we want to help everybody, face that challenge and help you, reach buyers and do more business, and work with your social media, use the marketing tools, do all these things that we talked about. So yes, it is a challenge, but you just got to continue to work and change the way you work. It's the best advice I can give you, of course.
We have a question from Adriana Fairman, where she says, could you please include the name and origin of each developer? And yes, we can absolutely do that, Adriana. We can provide you with that information. That's a good question. We do have that information and we can provide it. And another question from Adriana is, what are the local and international markets would you recommend focusing on?
I would focus on domestic markets right now. I would focus on, East Coast US. I would focus on New York. I would focus on, we just were working with buyers out of Chicago, buyers out of Boston, buyers out of, obviously, in the whole New York area. That's big. I mean, we even had buyers recently from California coming into Miami. And again, it really depends, but I happen to think that a lot of the buyers now are definitely domestic, and that's kind of what we're seeing. So I would focus on those areas, East Coast USA, in different pockets, metropolitan pockets, urban pockets, LA, Chicago, etc.
For international markets, Adriana, I think we're seeing a lot of activity still from Mexico. Mexico continues to be an important market for us. Brazil continues to, of course, still be an important market for us. We're seeing still Argentina. I know that you're from Argentina, and Argentina, is an important market. For example, for a development like Creative HQ or Office Condo, Argentina is a very important component. So it's still, those markets are still important to tackle.
Yeah.
And we have a question from Alex Miranda. Do you
Okay.
recommend developing a relationship with one in-house agent to work with, or does the sales office rotate the leads from us as they come in?
I love that question. Hi, Alex. That's a really good question. And I'll tell you my theory on that. I'm a firm believer in relationships. And yes, I think you should definitely develop a relationship with an agent. However, a lot of developments, like the developments that we work with, a lot of them, most of them, they work in a pooling system where the in-house agents all work together as a team. And I find that that is the most happiest is the happiest place to work and to be with, because you don't really necessarily have an in-house team that's competing and killing everybody to get to the deal. They all work together, and I think there's an advantage to, yes, you have a relationship with someone, but there's an advantage to be able to work with other agents. And the reality is that buyers all relate to different types of people. You know, there are some buyers that, you know, when I get a call to show 1000 Museum, a lot of brokers call me like, Harvey, you know what? I have a person, but I know that they really would like to, they really relate well to a woman or to a girl or whatever. And I'm like, great. So I'll set them up with, I would refer them. I would have one of my sales agents, one of my team members, work with them. A lot of people prefer, they just have, you can tell someone's personality from a buyer, what type of personality you think they're going to work with best. So it's nice to be able to have the option to have to number one, have the relationship with the agent, but also explain to the agent, hey, look, my buyer's, he's, an older gentleman. He's this, this is what he's like. This is the kind of guy. And you think, then you analyze and you think, maybe would I be the best person to work with, or should I have, say, like Fadia Bassi or Anna Cheryl or Macarena or Emily from our team work with them? Who would be the best fit for them? And we work together and we try to come up with the best strategic, conclusion, who would be best to work with them. And so I think that can be an advantage. But the point of your question was, should I develop a relationship with one person? Absolutely. And then it would be nice if that person is working under a system that would enable the best way to make a deal to create the best synergy with your buyer. That's what I think.
Our last question for today is from Yelena. Do you get most buyers that are brought by real estate agents or directly from potential buyers?
Really good question. Honestly, both. We get both. Both happen quite a bit. And look, the priority relationships with the sales team are brokers, and we always work with brokers. They're the bread and butter of an on-site salesperson. But we do get both. We get inquiries all the time. Don't forget, remember, developers, market, besides the marketing that the brokerage who represents them, like Sotheby's represents these guys, the developers have their own marketing. They do their own advertisements. They have their own websites. They have their own this. So they get direct leads coming in all the time. And a lot of the direct leads that come in, the phone calls we get, the web leads, et cetera, that come into the development are typically direct buyers. We get walk-ins. We get buyers that just kind of show up and, hey, I saw the building. I'm here in town for 2 days. I want to see it. We get that. But I think the majority of the buyers work with brokers, and I think that's just a standard understanding in the industry, is that it's a broker-driven world. So I think the majority are brokers, but we definitely do get direct buyers, and more and more lately. So both, but mainly brokers, but both.
And I think that's it for us, Harvey. I think there's no more questions, and we really appreciate everyone's time today.
Thank you so much, everybody. We're as I said, Vanessa said, we're super appreciative of everybody, and thanks for listening. And anything you need, you can certainly email me directly for anything. I'm happy to speak with any of you guys at any time. And as I know Vanessa is as well, and we'll definitely be in touch with you, and wishing everybody a beautiful rest of your day. Thank you.
And we'll be sharing this presentation again. Once again, we'll be sharing it tomorrow via a link on YouTube. So stay tuned for receiving that email, and we'll share this presentation. Thank you again.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy. Good luck.